The film opens with quiet tension, showing how drastically the world has changed since the outbreak of the strange comet-borne virus that kills only women. Will and Eva live in near isolation, constantly on guard. Their days are spent rationing food, listening to news reports, and watching ash fall from the sky, a reminder of how far the world has collapsed. Time passes in fragments, cutting between their attempts at normalcy and the constant shadow of danger. Eva's health is fragile, and the stress of knowing that women are hunted and quarantined has already worn her down. Will remains her protector, often overbearing, but his paranoia is necessary to keep her alive. The threat becomes real one evening when soldiers arrive outside their home. They roll up in military vehicles, their boots heavy on the gravel as they approach the door. Will acts fast, urging Eva to crawl under the bed. He steadies himself before opening the door. The soldiers question him, pat him down, and ask for his identification. Their suspicion is sharp. They ask if he lives alone, and Will lies, telling them his girlfriend had already died from the virus. After a tense silence, the soldiers accept his story and move on. Only when their vehicles finally pull away does Eva emerge, shaken but alive. Eva insists that they cannot stay any longer. If the soldiers come back, she'll be taken. Will agrees, and the couple packs their essentials, loading bags into the car. As they drive through town, the devastation is everywhere. Streets are empty, businesses boarded up, and life seems to have been drained from every corner. They pull into a Walmart parking lot and cautiously enter. Inside, the aisles are dim and half looted. They quietly gather supplies and whatever essentials they can carry. But their cover is blown when a store worker catches a glimpse of Eva, when he pulls off her hat, revealing her hair. His eyes widen in shock as he realizes what she is. Will reacts instantly, pulling out his gun and pressing it close, warning the worker that if he says a word to the authorities, he'll kill him. The man freezes, and Will ushers Eva out before anything else can happen. Hours later, needing rest, Will books them a motel room. He sneaks Eva inside under the cover of night, making sure no one sees her. By morning, Eva takes a shower and then tightly binds her chest with bandages, trying to disguise herself. Every detail matters if she is to blend in. They leave the motel and later stop at a roadside restaurant. Eva now wears makeup along her jaw and cheeks to give the illusion of stubble, pretending to be a young man. The waiter eyes her suspiciously as he hands over menus, and though nothing is said, the tension lingers. Eva and Will eat quickly, trying to stay unnoticed. The moment shatters when two men enter the diner. As the door opens, Eva suddenly winces, blood seeping from her ears, a terrifying sign that she has contracted the virus. Will panics, dropping money on the table but then pulling Eva away before paying in full. The waiter is left unsettled, but another customer quietly offers to cover their bill, sensing something is wrong. Back in the car, Will tries to comfort her. He explains the virus's symptoms, begging her to tell him if she feels anything unusual. But Eva, overwhelmed, spirals into a panic attack. She rushes out of the car and disappears behind a tree. For a moment, Will fears she won't come back. Seconds later, she returns, exhausted but unwilling to give up. They continue their drive until they reach a forest. There, they unpack their camping gear, planning to stay hidden among the trees. Soon, Eva drifts into her memory. She recalls a time before the outbreak, when life was normal. She remembers visiting her best friend at her apartment. Her friend had told her she'd be away for the weekend, leaving Eva the space. Eva then invited Will over, and he spent the night with her until morning, back when their relationship was fresh, untouched by the horrors to come. Her memory darkens suddenly as she recalls the first signs of the virus. Black ash had begun to fall from the sky, strange and unexplainable. Birds rained from the air, dying in flocks. The panic was immediate, and then, in a haunting flash, her best friend reappears in memory, walking back inside with blood pouring from her ears, collapsing to the ground as the virus consumed her. That evening, Will and Eva rush her best friend into the hospital. The waiting area is packed, but Will immediately notices something unsettling. All of the patients being admitted are women. Not a single man is being rushed through the doors. His eyes dart from bed to bed, watching nurses swarm around unconscious women, IV drips, and coughing fits. Panic starts to settle into his chest as the realization clicks: whatever is happening, it's targeting women alone. He grabs Eva's arm firmly, whispering to her that they need to leave right now. She resists, still in shock, demanding to know why. Will lowers his voice, trying not to draw attention, and tells her bluntly that it's only women who are being infected, that he doesn't want her anywhere near this place. Eva stares at him, devastated but processing the urgency in his tone. Reluctantly, she follows him out. By the time they're back on the road, they've suited up in borrowed hazmat gear. Will grips the steering wheel tight, glancing at Eva as though terrified he might lose her at any second. When they finally return home, his obsession with survival takes over. He bleaches every surface, scrubbing furiously, while Eva helps tape up the windows and seal the doors with plastic, turning their apartment into a makeshift bunker. The scene shifts to the present day. In the forest, Eva sits beside Will at a high clearing. She holds her camera up, quietly taking photos of the trees. The world seems almost peaceful here, but the weight of what's happening beyond hangs over them. As her camera clicks, she slips back into memory. She recalls her second morning after the virus spread. She woke in her sealed-off room, afraid but hearing movement outside. On her desk was a folded letter from Will. In it, he assured her that she could come out, that he had scrubbed every inch of the house, that it was safe. Slowly, she stepped out, the air heavy with bleach. She finds Will in the kitchen, wiping down counters, as his focus was singular, protecting her. The moment was shattered by the sound of her phone ringing. Eva answered, and her voice immediately cracked as the hospital informed her that her best friend hadn't made it. She dropped to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, while Will hovered helplessly, unable to offer comfort beyond his presence. The following day, the news officially broke. Anchors warned people to stay indoors, explaining that the disease was highly lethal to women. Eva and Will began their own strict quarantine, calling loved ones to warn them, telling them not to step outside under any circumstances. As the days stretched, the news grew darker. Broadcasts urged women to come forward to government medical facilities for treatment, showing footage of buses transporting patients. But Will and Eva saw through it, whispering to each other that it was a trap. Eva turned to the internet instead, joining underground chats with women worldwide who shared the same fate. They talked about hiding, about isolation and fear. Will discovered her one night and snapped, telling her to shut it down immediately. His paranoia boiled over. If the authorities tracked her, they'd take her away. Eva pushed back, feeling suffocated, but eventually shut the laptop. Time in quarantine began to corrode their bond. Arguments broke out over small things. Outside, the world crumbled further. News footage showed riots, men raging in the streets, accusing the government of failing to protect their families. The scene shifts again, to a quiet morning in the forest. Will and Eva wander through the trees together, carrying bags and a gun. They stop to set up a small camp. Neither knows they're being hunted, but two men from the restaurant earlier drive along a nearby dirt road. Their headlights catch the couple's abandoned car. They step out, knives in hand, and slash the tires before continuing their search. Back at the camp, Will softens the tension by teaching Eva how to shoot. Her first attempt is shaky, but when she squeezes the trigger and the can flips off the log, a flicker of pride crosses her face. That night, they sit by a small fire, shadows flickering across their faces. Conversation fades into intimacy as they retreat into their tent, clinging to one another, kissing with the desperation of people who don't know if tomorrow will come. At dawn, Eva slips away from the camp. She walks alone through the woods, her mind heavy. Meanwhile, Will wakes to a chilling sight, two men, rifles trained on him, demanding to know where his companion is. Will instantly realizes their intent. He yells into the trees, telling Eva not to come back if she can hear him. Eva, hidden behind the trees, freezes. She wants to help but knows stepping forward could mean her capture or worse. She then turns and runs. The sound of twigs snapping gives her away, and the men immediately notice her movement. They shout and charge after her, firing into the trees as Eva scrambles deeper into the forest. Eva squeezes herself into a narrow space between two massive rocks, pressing her body tightly against the stone as she tries to steady her breath. One of the men slowly creeps closer, scanning the gaps for movement. But just as he's about to check more carefully, Eva's body gives out. Her ears ring, her vision blurs, and she faints silently in the shadows. The man waits, listens, and then turns away, convinced she slipped further into the forest. By evening, the two men are still there with Will, sitting around the fire like it belongs to them. They tie Will to a tree, forcing him to watch as they eat his food and drink his water. They talk to him casually, asking how he managed to keep his girlfriend alive when every other woman has died. Will stays silent, refusing to give them the satisfaction of an answer. The men grow bolder, telling him he's selfish, that Eva belongs to everyone now, because she might be the last woman on Earth. They insist that survival means repopulation, and that Will is standing in the way of humanity's future. Suddenly, the sky shifts. Dark ash-like flakes begin to drift down again, covering the campsite and the trees around them. In the haze, a figure steps out from the woods. It's Eva, walking towards them topless to disarm their attention. One of the men freezes, lowering his weapon as she walks straight toward him, dazed by her sudden appearance. In that moment, Eva lunges, slamming him with a rock and knocking him unconscious. She rushes to Will, cutting through his restraints with trembling hands. Will grabs the rifle from the ground and spins toward the second man's tent. He fires through the canvas, but the man inside shoots back. The exchange is brutal and fast, bullets tear through the thin walls. Will manages to hit him, but not before taking a shot himself. Eva helps him up, and together they escape into the forest, stumbling through the ash-covered trees. They keep walking all night, through the darkness and into the first light of dawn. By morning, the forest opens up to reveal the edge of a ruined city. They climb onto a rooftop, looking out at the hollow streets below. Both put on their hazmat suits, sealing themselves from the toxic air. But Eva stops. She stares at the sky, at the emptiness, and rips off her mask. She pulls off the entire suit, saying she's done living in fear. Will sprints at her, desperate to stop her, but it's too late. She inhales deeply, her body taking in the poisoned air as he watches in horror. Please make sure to like, subscribe and comment for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.